Hello, NAB, and welcome back to another Wowza Studio session. Today is our LiveX Happy Hour, our last session of NAB, and today we're going to be talking about the best of NAB. Again, my name is Nick Walsh, and I'm a producer at LiveX, and today we are talking about everything new that came out at NAB this year, all the new gear, hardware, new streaming solutions, everything that came out this week. Today I'm joined by Corey Behnke, the president and co-founder of LiveX. What a coincidence, right? So yeah, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so I've been at Wowza Studio Sessions this whole time, so I've not had a chance to see anything at NAB so far. So you are my eyes and ears for the whole experience.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, wow.
No, I spent a lot of time on Central on Monday. I did about half of Central, most of North, and then yesterday I took over the rest of Central, and then I did most of South Upper, and I'm kind of finishing South Lower today.
Cool.
You know, I have to say every year I do this, I have high expectations. I still want a camera that has SMPTE 2110 out of the back.
Right? Where is it?
We have not seen it. You know, I want to congratulate Teradek on they won Best Product for the Bolt 4K.
Yeah.
Really cool product. Everybody loves a Bolt. We have, 3 or 4 of them, I think. Great product. Excited to see. It's a lot of 4K. Basically, I think the story of NAB right now is there's a couple people that have gone this 8K route, Blackmagic, and it's not a gimmick, but it feels like they wanted to put an 8 on the box
right.
for no reason because they don't have an 8K camera.
Right.
Which I think is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Like you have all this 8K stuff, and I think Sharp has an 8K camera that they came out with that I saw. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's like exclusively buying for future proof, not to use right now, but to like wait a little while before you can actually use it to its full capability.
Exactly, which is a little bit what 12 GSDI has been the last 2 years. It's like, oh, you're future proof for 4K, so
Yeah, well, it'll be coming one day. It just so that way you're ready. But even some of the Blackmagic 8K stuff, like the Constellation, looks really, really cool.
It does.
Like,
I really like. Look, you and I know we've been waiting for a router, a 12 GSDI router that has more than 40 by 40. Ross Ultrix is a good solution for something like that, but it's way more expensive than what Blackmagic is going to be. I'm surprised they still don't have even a 72 by 72 12 GSDI router. But the Constellation looks amazing. It's for people my age and older. And I don't know which box, but it looks like a DigiBeta tape deck. That's the HyperDeck, the new HyperDeck tape deck thing. It literally looks like a DigiBeta deck. So everybody that knows is gonna know that that's what that is, right? And then the youngsters are like, oh, that looks like an old broadcast gear. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I feel like. I hate to say this, I love Blackmagic, but I feel a little underwhelmed by their product launch every year. I don't know what they're waiting for. Like, where's the 2ME panel? Where is the 8K camera? Where is the routers, like we said? And, they have a lot of products, so...
Yeah, slowly but surely. But at least with the 8K Decklink card, that with the new update that came out, it's really solid.
That's cool. And we already bought one of those.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
The Bolt 4K, I think, is the thing. What else did I see? Oh, Dejero CellSat actually is really cool. It's an Intelsat partnership. It's cool because it merges a satellite with bonded cellular with broadband. So you actually have this real robust solution for, not for a lot of our clients necessarily might not want to pay. They might be okay with bonded cellular and they understand the risks. But, for us, when we have a trailer on the ground, it's really nice to have that SAT solution as well. I think it's a pretty cool product.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I bet it's an actually affordable price point for a satellite.
Somewhat. They, of course, couldn't give me pricing, but I think it's a little bit more. I think people understand it's more competitive. I don't think satellite's going anywhere. I think a lot of people thought it would go away, but it's a lot of times the only way you can get 4K transmitted from a place that doesn't have broadband or doesn't have internet is to use ASI and use 4K transport that way.
Yeah. And going back to 4K developments for products, it's nice to see a Decimator finally come out with a 12G version.
Yeah, everybody's excited about that, actually.
Yeah.
Decimator is one of those companies, they're in South Upper, and you're like, why are you in South Upper? This makes no sense. You should either be in Central or in South Lower. And but they had a very busy booth. Google's had a pretty busy booth. AWS, very busy booth.
Yeah.
Up here, Wowza's had a great showing. High Vision, they're here for the first time in 2 years. They've been at the Renaissance the last 2 years, and I think they've seen every time I go to their booth, there's a ton of people around, and that really goes to SRT. You see, 2 years ago, you saw Dante everywhere, and you still see Dante. I think one of the coolest products with Dante right now is the Sound Devices Scorpio product.
Okay.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
I think I have some pictures of it. I think I have pictures. I don't know when you want to play those, but Danielle can play those whenever she wants. I can talk about, there's this actual, there's a TV that I found that's kind of like the Lilliput TV that has a case inside of it. I don't remember the company, but they have this demo of a TV dropping, and their whole thing is like, you can drop the TV. Here it is right here. And they basically drop this thing, and you notice it doesn't lose any frames or nothing happens. It's like so hilarious.
Proof.
Yeah. So I was like, that's really cool. And I was a little bit bummed by that. We had bought the Lilliput that has the cover casing like that, and I was excited about it. And I was a little bummed at the quality of that. But this one, it seems pretty cool. I can't remember the name of the brand. But again, like, you see those brands. That's what Central's all about. You kind of have the Asian brands and some of the different countries repping products that look like something else, but they have different feature sets, and that to me is like the fascinating part of NAB. To see these vendors have new products that you've never heard of, and then to see where they go and whether they get bought. And I always say there's 3 layers of NAB. There's the end user looking for products. Then there's the B2B, right? The businesses doing business with each other. And then there's the M&A layer, right? Where you have the deals going on and the acquisitions and the finalize. And all those 3 things are going on at one time. I think, in my 20s and in my early 30s, I only knew about the end user piece. So to me, that the inside baseball part of NAB is fun. To think about. Anyway, I don't play in that stratosphere, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of which, the big announcement that came out right before NAB this year, VizRT acquiring NewTek.
Yeah, which is crazy. I've said this to a couple people. I'm like, it's either the smartest thing in the world or it's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't think there's a middle ground, and I don't have an opinion either way. It's just fascinating when you see a company like VizRT, who has pretty much sold a $50,000 and above solution to everyone, and then you have NewTek, which most people would say is at the near more down market, right? A down market consumer at a $15,000 to $30,000 price point for their switcher. It's going to be interesting to see which way they go.
Right.
Both companies need what the other company has, where Viz has needed to go down market for a long time, in my opinion. Same with EVS, and NewTek has needed to go up market for a long time and really didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And NDI is still going strong. Here's what's crazy: like, I thought SMPTE 2110. This is 2 years ago. I thought SMPTE 2110 it's what it's all about. You still see a slow escalation and migration to SMPTE 2110, but the feedback that I'm getting about 2110 is that it's difficult and people don't understand the complexity of it. So it's not as easy as SDI to just turn this thing on, that you have a connector and then it works. It's going to be the right switch, the right 10 gig network, the right PTP, the right 2059. And so I think people are scared. I was talking to someone, and I was like, why hasn't a camera manufacturer come out with a IP-based camera? And I was literally talking to 2 people I really respect, and they were like, first to market doesn't necessarily put you in the best place.
Yeah.
The first person there isn't the person who necessarily wins. Most times, like this happened with AJA, had the Cineon camera. Where's that? That doesn't exist anymore. So, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised that a smaller company hasn't taken advantage of that, much like Red did in the space, years and years ago, and take advantage of the fact that, hey, we're going to make a SMPTE 2110 camera only. Right. It's not going to have SDI. It's not going to have anything else.
Yeah.
Why not? Take the market, right?
Yeah, especially for monitoring, too. It's interesting that it didn't come out in the first version of, the Bird Dog or something to actually have an NDI output monitor,
Yeah.
It's, really interesting that, it was mostly a software thing. You're, expected to just use it on computers and buy converters and stuff.
Well, and NDI is fascinating to me because NDI is really big here. It's a very big deal. I think it's a big deal. I used to poo-poo it. I think there's tons of applications that it can be used for in a really cool and effective way. What's surprising to me is that people are using NDI for transport, which I'm like, whoa, that's not really what it's meant to be. And and you see a lot of, I said this before, but you see a lot of SRT, and that is the most exciting thing for me personally, because I feel like we finally gotten to this place where there's not a proprietary management layer like a Zixi on top of the transport stream. So we're going to have more reliable video transport and audio over the internet, over public internet, which is really exciting. And the at-home production move, the Remy move, is happening, and it's happening in a big way. And like I would have told you, 2 years ago that that's 10 years from now. And I really feel that the push of at-home production is coming, right? And all of these products that they're making are for an at-home. There is an at-home production use case,
right?
Which is really fascinating.
Yeah. Just speaking of which, like the ATSC 3.0, like developments that are coming, and so now people get set-top boxes, and we'll go back to having boxes on our TVs instead of just like using OTT and just go.
Well, I said this to you. I think I blew some people's minds when I said I forced our staff to look at ATSC3. There are people who have done over-the-air for 20 years that don't really understand what ATSC3 is going to be. Now, when it's going to happen, like SMPTE 2110, we've been waiting for that for years. And it's hard when you're like, what's funny is, to me, ATSC3 will force the migration finally to 4K. Like, that will be the thing that puts it over the top, because you haven't seen that happen. You've seen it happen with VOD, but for live, you haven't seen Netflix even get into live. You haven't seen really the OTT platforms get into 4K live.
Yeah.
And I think once you have ATSC3 really out there in the local marketplace and able to do some of the cool things, I personally feel like there's going to be a compelling use case for a company like even Netflix to get a channel, an over-the-air channel. I know that's not their play, but because of some of the cool things that ATSC3 can do.
Right.
And that's getting in the weeds. That's why I love like talking about this stuff. That's, to me, it's like NAB. It's fascinating to me when I talk to someone who I know has been in the industry for a long time and they don't even know what it is.
Right.
It's like I feel like more people know what the new SMPTE standard is than necessarily what that is, right?
Right.
Which is really fascinating. Like, that's, again, the NAB is all about inside baseball for broadcast.
Yeah.
I think in the past it was about new products, and I think more and more now you're seeing how companies are going to position themselves in this at-home world.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. And funny you mentioned Netflix, because I just saw today or yesterday, because you saw the Prom on Broadway, right?
I saw that. They announced they're going to put the Prom on Broadway on Netflix, right?
Yeah, but
that's
they're
awesome.
Producing it, they said a movie event, so it's like, okay, like it's going to be live.
I doubt it'll be live. I think it'll be more like the Conan.
Or like a watch party.
Yeah.
The
entertainment model where you have a late show and then you redo it later.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to see like starting to dip their toes and like getting in that space. And so I want to play a really quick game with you. So based on everything you saw at NAB this year, what do you want to get tomorrow? What do you want to get in a year? And what do you want to skip entirely?
Okay, tomorrow I'm going to be ordering the new SKB cases for the Blackmagic CCUs. Very unsexy thing to say, I know. But I think that's the first thing I posted. Tomorrow I'm looking at Scorpio. I'm looking at the Teradek Bolt 4K. I'm looking at more SRT workflows. Actually, Videon is announcing some pretty cool stuff where they're positioning themselves for ingest into AWS and having some SRT products. Teradek has some SRT products that I think are pretty cool. And then in the future, I still want an IP camera. I mean, it's going to, honestly, what I really want in the future, and you know this, is I want a Blackmagic router. Blackmagic, please come out with a 128 by 128 router, because I really need one.
Yep. We could use it in both our mobile unit and the MCR, right?
It's just like dealing with cross points and dealing with 340 by routers. I mean, what's funny is so that's a really fascinating thing that's been happening over the course of this year, and here at NAB you see it. It used to be, for people older than me, you said the word Blackmagic and it was like a bad word in a little bit. And I've always been a huge supporter of Blackmagic since they've been around. And now more and more people are looking to Blackmagic, and they really are. They've become this huge, like 800-pound gorilla that people are following what they do like real avidly, right? And so you see Grass and you see Ross and you see the bigger companies, broadcast companies. You see them doing some things small things that kind of are not copying Blackmagic, but like following in the footsteps of like, wait a second, we have to have this because we're seeing them compete with us.
Yeah, you just got to keep up with them, and they're just moving so fast.
They are.
Just like,
I wish they'd move faster. Which
right for about some things, but yeah, it's like they're definitely aiming for like the sexy stuff first, just like blowing people's minds, but like kind of drag it on the like, okay, now how do we use it and integrate it and like use it to its full capacity?
Yeah.
Great. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And real quick, I wanted to ask, what do you see LiveX doing this year? What new spaces will we go into? What new things are going to happen?
I'm really excited about the Ursa broadcast workflow that we're deploying with our production trailer. I know that doesn't sound like the most sexy thing, but it's really exciting to see a smaller company like ours that does, a lot of like smaller webcasts and streams with, half-inch sensors type cameras typically, where we're getting a really good color profile. It's exciting for us to go to the Ursa broadcast form factor, use CCUs, and 2/3 glass. It almost feels like, for someone like me who started in broadcast, it feels like I'm growing up again because we're using 42 by lenses and 22 by lenses, and it just opens up this whole world where you can make your live stream really look like sports and entertainment television, where before you could only do that with like a $50 or $60 or $90,000 camera.
Right.
So that's really exciting. I'm really impressed by the Ursa broadcast and the performance we're getting out of them. We did the opening for the Shed in Hudson Yards, and it looked amazing. Like, I don't know that an HDC would have looked better, but we're talking incrementally better, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm also interested in on a few Instagram lives you've done too. I feel like a lot of people are gonna want to continue doing those.
Yeah,
which is like pretty funny how it's like not officially
it's
allowed, but
Instagram Live captioning. I mean, all the unsexy stuff. Is really going to be strong this year, and at home production. Like, I think every day that goes by, we are more in an at home world. And, we're positioned very well for that world.
Yeah, and it was like interesting seeing, like, especially with SRT, how that's just going to blow, especially with all the stuff that High Vision's doing. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting year.
Oh, and I do say one product, Light Panels Gemini 1x1.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to mention that because that blew me. I was like, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I need that.
Yeah, like how did this not exist?
Yeah, why wasn't this around before?
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me. And thanks, everyone, for watching at home. This has been Best of NAB 2019, and this is our last Wowza Studio session. So thank you for watching all week. Make sure you go back and watch all the great interviews we had with end users of Wowza products, and as well as people who are also doing OTT work and really great encoding stream workflows. So thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you go to the App Store right now, download the Trivia Wow app, all one word, Trivia Wow, because at 4:45, we are going to do Trivia Wow. You could play live, highlighting Wowza's ultra-low latency encoding. So make sure you check us out then. Have a good one.